How are yous? Leave a little comment once you're on. We've already got 10 people on. There we go. How are yous? It's Sunday, the 27th of October, and day 3. Today, we are going to go over the power of self-accountability. Now, we've touched on this the past few days, but today we're going to talk about why it's very important to keep yourself accountable. And I'm just going to give you an example right off the bat. I had a show last night. It was a 2-hour drive to Ayrshire. Absolutely great show. Really, really good show. Nice people. I think there was about sold out show, quite a small venue. 80, 90 people. Amazing. So didn't get finished till about 12 o'clock. Pack up the stuff, left there about 1 o'clock, and then drove all the way back. Didn't get home till about maybe 3:30. Now, woke up this morning, a little bit tired, and I had instantly, easily 10 excuses not to come up and do this morning and change it to later on. I was going to say, I actually wrote out a Facebook post and I was going to write, guys, today we're going to do 4 o'clock, but then I thought, do you know what? It's not fair because this is a morning thing. This is a start to the day. So got myself ready, up, no excuses, and here we are. And already I feel 10 times better. Hi guys, just leave a little couple of comments. Who's on? We have a couple of morning shout outs. Got Craigie C. Good to see you, Craigie. Hi Bill. Good to see you, brother. Claire Alexander. Brian Foster. Brian, I'm surprised you're on it this time. Oh, you'll be up for the Hibs Hearts game, eh? That's what it is. Carol Hamilton, good to see you. Julie Thompson, loving it. Loving it. Morning, everybody. By the way, look at this one. And Louise, good to see you. And Louise, I'm hoping you've got some quotes for me today. Do not let me down. Can you see me okay? I always get paranoid with this little mic because it's cut off a couple of times. Just let me know. Hi, Bernie. Right, let's get into today. So, self-accountability. We discussed past couple of days. It's important, to keep accountable. Why? Well, one of the quotes that I did say was the confidence is a memory of winning over and over again. Why is that important? When winning starts to become a habit. In fact, let's talk about football. So I'm going to football today, Hibs Hearts, right? And I'm going to use my team as an example. Hibs are in a phenomenal habit right now of messing things up, right? You're almost certain that even if, like last weekend, right, they were 2-1 up at the 92nd minute, I believe. And in the 96th minute, they were getting beat 3-2. Now, when you're under pressure, whether it be in football, whether it be in life, whether it be anything, you will resort back to your identity and you'll resort back to your habits when you're under pressure. Because when you start to build these things in your brain, and you have to work off instinct, you have to work off maybe a reaction, you'll always go to your habits. So I think what Hibs done was they felt a bit of pressure and they resorted back to their habits. We always lose games in the last minute. We always concede a last minute goal. We always do this. And it's so true. You flip that reverse. I'm just going to use football as an example. You talk about Celtic, you talk about Rangers. They're in a habit of thinking, do you know what? It's 1-0. It's the 92nd minute, and we have got a habit of getting a last minute winner. Different mindset. Same game, different mindset. And again, the M and Mack is mindset, and that is the key thing first and foremost. Then it's accountability, because you need to show up. You need to kind of believe in your habits. You need to build the habit to start off with, or build the beliefs, but then that becomes subconscious. That becomes second nature. And it's like anything really. I'm not a overly funny person, but I got into a habit of seeing stuff in my shows and reacting to it. Like Freddie Starr, he would instantly see a scenario where he can make people laugh, and it became a habit. It became a habit, and that's why sometimes something happens in my show, and my brain remembers. I've already seen this 417 times. I know what I'm going to say. People that haven't seen my show before think that's spontaneous and think that's clever and think that's very witty. It's not. It's because I've practiced it over and over and over again, and that scenario's happened. Where somebody's got up to go to the toilet, and I've stood in front of them, or I start a song and somebody's about to get up and leave, for a cigarette or a toilet or whatever, and I'll stop the song and I'll say, "Oh, do you not like this song?" That looks very spontaneous and very, off the cuff. It is off the cuff because that scenario wouldn't have happened if that person never done that. However, when I worked in Tenerife, um, at the very start, I used to do about 14, 15 shows a week. Now, what I learned very quickly was how not to do stuff, how not to sing, how not to do. Because people will say, how did you actually learn how to do what you do? It's by knowing what not to do. And it's the same with trying to find your purpose as well. When people say, you should find your purpose in life, which I do believe. I'm a massive believer in that. But here's the follow-up question. How do you find it? How do you find it? It's impossible. If you went out looking for one purpose, it is impossible for you to find it. So, Frankie, how do you find it? Okay. Try as many things as you can, whether it be food, jobs, whatever. Try as many things as you can, different countries. And quickly you'll realize what you don't want. Now, by process of elimination, I know there's millions of things in life, but you'll kind of get an idea, what you're good at. For me, I was never good at football. I was never good at rugby. I was never good at I'm not a very physical person. I don't like physical contact when it comes to don't want to damage, this face, but I was always, and what I noticed was I always love things that involved myself alone. So like snooker, poker, what else? It was always, at the Xbox. It was always stuff that I could look back and say, do you know what, I've done that. And I think subconsciously that's what it was. And I didn't realize at the time, but I was having a conversation with my ADHD coach, and he says, "Do you realize that everything you do is solo?" He says, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because he says at some point you're going to have to expand this Frankie Mack thing. You're going to have to build a team. You can't keep doing this on your own all the time. He says, because one, you're going to burn out. Two, you're not going to help as many people as you think. And that confused me. I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He says, "Well, imagine you did YouTube, imagine you done Facebook, imagine you done Instagram, imagine you done TikTok." He says, "Are you on all these things consistently?" I was like, "Nah, I like now and then." And he says, "Well," and he was the one that told me, he was like, "It's consistent, like consistency and showing up, even when you don't want to show up." And I was like, "Wow." He says, "But would you find it harder or easier if you had systems in place?" I was like, "Well, what kind of systems would help me?" He says, "Well, imagine you had your own studio and this was set up every single day, and all you had to do was just turn up and speak for 15 minutes. Would you find that easier and harder than if you had to set up your equipment every single day?" I was like, 100%. He says, "Right, okay." He says, "Would you find it easier or harder if you hired a videographer to come do your content? If you hired someone for 20 hours a week to film whatever you're doing, whether it be rehearsal." So today we've got rehearsals for assembly rooms. I'll give you an example. I've got a videographer who's going to document this whole thing, behind the scenes, the rehearsals, the good bits, the bad bits, the arguments, that whatever happens, it's all going to get videoed. Why? Because that's real. People want to see the real stuff, not just the final show reel, not just the 90 seconds of the best parts of the night. They want to see like, wow, like that went wrong the whole time. How did they nail that on the night? What happened on the night? Why did that work? Or why did like, for instance, me and the drummer and the musical director were doing this song. What was it? Baby, It's Cold Outside. I cannot get the hang of that song, and I don't know why. It's a song that it didn't sound right, it didn't feel right, and we must have went over the song about 50 times. And everyone learnt the song. All the band, all the music was written out, everything, and I just says, "Look, cut it because I'm not feeling it." You know, obviously the band have put a lot of work in learning songs, but this is what happens. You have to know what you don't want. And with me singing this song, I was like, I don't want that. I don't want to have any slight bit of doubt on that stage on that night or at rehearsals, because any doubt that you have will reflect in other aspects. So that song might affect the next song. Or if Baby It's Cold Outside is the fourth song, I'm going to be worried about singing the first, second, and third song on the lead up to that. So why not just cut it out? You know, it's only a song. Just cut it. Doesn't work. And that's how you start to realize what you do want. And that's kind of being accountable as well. Being accountable for saying how you feel. You know, that's very important. It's good and well bottling things up, but there's only so much you can bottle up. Learn to be observant, not react. Not everything needs a reaction. Bill, that's another thing. Was that Bill that said that? Sorry, let me just read that. Because that's another thing. That's a great shout, actually. Not everything needs a reaction. Why can I not see these comments? Hello. Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh, we've got quite a few comments. Anne Louise Phil, quote of the day: "We suffer more often in imagination than reality." Hi, Leah. I'm going to be consistent. Wearing my dark glasses for ocular eye generation to help me. And put yourself first, 100%. Good morning to you, Frankie. Cheers. Thank you. Caroline, yeah, just wasn't feeling it. Wasn't feeling the song. Learn to sit back and observe. Not everything needs a reaction. So there's two things that happened there. So Anne Louise said, wait, what was the quote? I don't want to mess it up. What was the quote you just said? Where are you? We suffer more in imagination. Yeah. So I think I've got to be in the top 5% of this in the world because I am an overthinker and a worrier. And I already know that 90% of things that you worry about do not happen, but I still worry. Right? I always think of the worst case scenario, which is a good and bad thing. Because one, if you worry about it and you let that fester, that's bad. However, if you worry about it and then you actually think, right, if that does happen, if that's the worst case scenario, you already know a backup plan, or you already know how you would solve that if that thing did happen. So if that thing didn't happen, it's fine. You've got all bases covered. However, the unhealthy version is if you worry about something and don't think of the solutions, and you just worry about a problem. The good thing about if you're doing your own business, there's a lot of people that follow my journey that have got their own business or started their own business, and I got a message the other day. His name's John Mitchell, and he was thinking about sponsoring the show, and I said, like, "Why do you want to sponsor the show?" And he says, "Well, you actually inspire me to set up my own business." And he's got a bathroom company, and I'm like, "Serious?" He's like, "Yeah." He says, "I've watched your videos." He says, "I've watched your journey," and he says, "I absolutely love what you've done," and you gave me that little push. And listen, not everybody needs advice. Not everybody knows everything. Like, you know the difference between eating an apple and eating a donut. Everybody knows, you know the difference between right and wrong. However, sometimes you need a little push. That's it. Just a wee nudge. That's all you need. And I think what I've noticed that this is the third day doing this, and the people that are already writing in their journals or writing in their writing habits, and that's the little push. And it's not going to be perfect every day. You might get to one day and think, do you know what? I'm only going to write that 10 times. I'm not going to write it 30 times. I've got too much to do. But eventually you'll start just doing it. Because you're not going to do it right away because it will seem like work. It will seem like an effort because your brain's not used to it. Here's another example. If you're right-handed or left-handed, right? These are little things to rewire your brain. So there's a guy who studies neurology, and he does a lot of work with the brain. But he's also a scientist, and I've never heard things being described as clear and as well as if anybody can Google maybe later on or whatever, Joe Dispenza, right? Joe Dispenza, he is incredible, and he gave like this little example. He says, if you start brushing your teeth with the opposite hand for a couple of weeks, you will start thinking differently. And that sounds bonkers. It's like, what? Because that's one of the first things you do in the morning. And your brain already thinks you're going to start brushing your teeth with your right hand. Switch it and start doing, start doing things a little bit differently. And you start rethinking things. It's crazy. It's really crazy. And Louise, I've got a quote for you. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Now, goals without discipline or a path, at best, are just wishes, right? For instance, and in fact, I'll tell you one of mine right now. So next year, I want to try and secure a deal at the Edinburgh Fringe with somewhere that's going to be spectacular. Like, let's take the Hibs Stadium, for example. Like, these are the goals that I want. So rather than me just writing, I want to perform at the Fringe at the Hibs Stadium, right? That's fine. You can write that. However, if I just left it till August and never done anything about it, that's just going to be left there, right? You're not going to attract that. You can't just write stuff and just, let it happen. You need to write stuff to be clear what you want. Then you need to say it. And the powerful thing about you saying it is it's already out there, right? Whether you say it to a friend or say it online or whatever. That's why I'm very vocal about what I want to do. Because one, it keeps me accountable. And then there's a little bit of pressure that I have to, act on it. There's a little bit of pressure that is like, well, actually, I've said this now. Take this 21-day example. I need to show up every day now. That's quite a scary thing. I know that sounds mental, but it is. It's quite a scary thing to have that pressure. I need to show up every day. I need to be this person every day. And, but once you're on and you're in that momentum, and again, momentum's a key thing. You're in that momentum. Is a massive, massive thing. What was I speaking about there? What was I speaking about? I just went off on a tangent there. The secret to happiness is letting every situation be as not what it should be. Love that. Expectations a massive, massive thing. So I think that's in fact that's a subject for another day. A massive thing's gratitude. Being grateful for things that you have and not for the things that you don't have. That's a separate. That's a whole session, right? Now, the thing with accountability, it's very powerful when it works, but it's also very powerful when it doesn't work. What do I mean, Mel? If you get in the habit of telling lies to yourself, and this doesn't need to be extreme, I'm going to give you one of mine. So I promised myself, or I said to myself last night, look, we're going to do this video. I'm going to go to the Hibs game. I'm going to go to the gym, and then I've got rehearsals later. I've set myself up for failure because I already knew I couldn't make the gym today. I don't know why I set myself that ambition, that goal, that promise. And I'm already beating myself up about it because I know how big that is to lie to yourself. And again, it's not a huge deal. All right, I missed the gym once. Cool. Once you're aware of how powerful promises are, it affects you. So I should have said yesterday to myself, we'll not go to the gym. We'll go on Monday. And if I went today, it would have been a bonus. But I set myself up for failure because I knew I couldn't make today. The time scales were too short. But I felt guilty for missing the gym yesterday. I had to pick up the car, had to go and collect the equipment. Had a show last night. Again, excuses. I could have woke up 3 hours earlier and went to the gym, but I needed the rest. I did need the rest. So be realistic in what you say to yourself. It's always better to downplay it and overachieve. You always do that. You always, when I get booked for a gig, and this stays between us, right? This doesn't go out to the worldwide. When I get booked for a gig, I always give people a quote based on 2:45 minutes, right? For anyone that's seen a show knows for a fact that when have I ever just done 2:45 minutes? Never. Not once. Not one of you can tell me a time where I've just done 2:45 minutes. However, when a venue books you and they expect 2:45 minutes, and you give them 2 1 hours or 2 1 hour and a halves, Do you think you're going to get booked again? Do you think the customers are going to be happy? Do you think the bar staff are going to be? Of course they are. However, you flip the switch. Let's say I normally do 2 45 minutes, right? That's what I normally do. And that's what everybody knows, right? But I say at the venue, do you know what? This time I'm going to do 2 1-hour slots for you, right? How would you feel, or how would they feel if I only done 2 55-minute slots? It's longer than the 45 minutes that you normally get. It's 10 minutes longer, but it's 5 minutes shorter than what they expected. So in reality, expectation creates your happiness. If your expectations don't get met in a certain way, you're not going to be happy. And I think that's a huge thing that I've worked on. Massive thing, because I always expect, a certain standard or a certain, I've got a vision in my head. And you've got to realize not everybody's the same as you. Not everybody's going to have that same passion for that thing that you love. And that's life. That is life, and that's what makes it even a better journey, because whatever you are passionate about, actually, to be honest with you, there's not many people like you that have that same thought process on that thing. Like for me, yes, I'm a singer, I'm an entertainer, but also I'm inspiring people. Also I want to better myself by doing this. Also, I want to learn about ADHD. Also, I want to do speaking gigs. There's so many things that if you take things that you love and just combine them, in reality, there's 7 billion people in the world. So say, for instance, you're a personal trainer, right, at a gym or whatever, but you also love crosswords, right? Humour me for 2 minutes. If you done crosswords and were a personal trainer, and you also had an absolute passion for sushi, right? You love sushi and also you loved Pokemon, right? Let's take the 4 or 5 things. If you create a personal brand, and this is important, by the way, everybody has a personal brand. Every single person in the world has a personal brand. What is a personal brand? It is your reputation online. That's what a personal brand is. So even if you've just got Facebook, I can pretty much kind of judge you based on what your posts are about, what you share, what your comments are like. That is a personal brand. Do you leave good comments, do you leave positive comments, or do you leave negative comments? Are you complaining all the time? Are you in the victim mindset where it's, oh, this happened to me, this car drove past me earlier and I got a bit wet, I splashed in the puddle, and, Or here was one the other day, actually. I seen somebody post this. They were at a 5-star resort in Mexico. Me and my husband are lying by the swimming pool, and we get splashed by these children. Well, of course you're going to get splashed. You're sit by a swimming pool. These maniacs live in this world, right? Where people are sitting by the swimming pool and are complaining about getting splashed. Like, get a grip. So if you're posting that on Facebook, right? How do you think you're living your day-to-day life? Judged by that post. Come on. Do you get what I'm saying? So bless you, mum. How do you think that impacts? I'd splash all the more. Caroline, you're the same as me. If somebody complained at a swimming pool they were getting splashed, I would bomb dive. That's the type of child I am, right? That's the level of intelligence I have here. It would want me to do it even more, because I'm thinking like it's bonkers. Anyway, but I do understand. I get it. But if you're in a family resort, you're not going to start shouting at 6-year-olds for splashing in the pool. You just go up and kick them up the arse. That's what you would do. See you later. So what was I saying? Oh, the personal brand. So, by the way, I need to leave for the Hibs game soon. This is 24 minutes. The personal brand is important. So if you set up, if this person who was a personal trainer who likes crosswords, sushi, and Pokemon, imagine he set up a personal brand and his name was, Craig. Let's use Craig as an example. And he wanted to he wanted to get more clients as a personal trainer, right? He's only got 2 clients a week, and He's struggling to find another client. You don't have to go down the fitness route, believe it or not, to get a personal training client. Why not go down the Pokemon route? Why not be an expert on Pokemon? Or why not be an expert on crosswords? Here are 5 tips per day how you can get better at crosswords. Or here are 5 at whatever. And you'll start attracting people who like crosswords, who like Pokemon, who like sushi. You know, if you're from, say, Edinburgh and you like sushi, why not go to a restaurant each week and do a little review on sushi places? Why? Why is that important? Because the people that like sushi probably are going to be into fitness. It's all related. People at Pokemon, some people that like Pokemon love fitness. So it doesn't matter how people find you. Like for me, I love poker. Not many people know that I like poker. When I was playing in Vegas, I got a lot of people to turn up to shows who I played in poker tournaments with. They didn't know I was a singer before then, but I met them through a different lane. You know, so always you don't have to just have one thing, right? Your personal brand's a combination of things. So the more you have, the better. Why? Because one, you've got more avenues to attract people, but also it makes you more memorable. It makes you more just interesting. You know, if all I done was speak about singing and Dean Martin and Elvis every single day, which actually I do, to be fair, that would come boring quite quickly. However, if you sprinkle a little bit of, you know, watching the chase or still game or, you know, these things, it makes you, that's what makes your brand. Because anytime the chase is on, right, the amount of messages I get about the Bradley Walsh or the chase or it is unbelievable. Or a still game quote. That's your personal brand. It's what people think of you straight away. So we're going to wrap up for a couple of things, but the one thing I do want to touch on is commitment and consistency equals confidence. And I cannot stress this enough. And I keep saying this quote about the memory of winning over and over again. Keep to the basic small wins. As simple as making your bed. That's it. It's as easy as that. Just tell you whatever you tell yourself, follow through with it. Right? That is the only thing that builds confidence, but also it takes away from confidence. So be careful what you tell yourself. No, thank you as well for tuning in this morning. I know past couple of days have been a bit all over the place with shows and cars and whatever, but listen, we've done it. We've done a nice little 50-minute one yesterday that was quite sharp. Today I wanted to give you a bit extra because I felt yesterday was kind of a bit rushed. I had a lot going on. Felt a bit guilty last night for not spending a bit more time yesterday. So I just wanted to brush over yesterday's, the day before, and today's. So what to do, and I'm going to do this later on. I need to head off to the Hibs game just now. Try and get a wee win. And I'm not going to lie. My heart says Hibs, but my betting slip says 3-0 Hearts. Sorry, folks. I know. But listen, thank you again for tuning in. If you've enjoyed it, subscribe. Please do me a favour. I really want to get this out there. And you must not feel guilty. Thank you for your time. No, Lucy, because, you know, I love doing these videos, and I know sometimes I can go on and on, but I just want to, you know, get a message across. Thank you, really enjoying it. Thank you so much, Heidi. So what to do? Right, here's your little thing. So a lot of you are already doing this habit. And what I'm finding actually, because this is to get me in the rhythm, is by just picking one habit. So for me, I had 2 habits on the first day. I'm just going to stick to one. And the one that I'm focusing on that I'm finding challenging, or not finding challenging, but the one that needs my focus is showing up here for 21 days consistent. So that's the habit now I'm focused on. It's creating that habit. And to be honest with you, it's new because I've never done that before. I've never done a video 21 days in a row. So it's quite daunting for me actually. And it's quite a little bit of pressure because if I miss a day, like I've failed. So I need to really be focused on time, on also your time. You know, I need to realize not everybody's got half an hour, but you can always catch up anyway. And it's a challenge for me. So I'm enjoying focusing on, you know, writing out. I am committed to 21 days, and that's And I'm already feeling different on day 3 than I was on day 1. I don't have as much anxiety. I don't have as much pressure because don't be so hard on yourself. Cheers. Thank you. I appreciate it. In fact, I had another little quote for you. Success doesn't come from what you occasionally do. It comes from what you consistently do. By the way, we need to make a little motivational quote book. That, by the way, there we go. We'll write that in. We'll get that done at some point. And always remember the reason why you're doing it. And we're going to dive more into the why tomorrow, the knowing why. All right. Tomorrow is Monday. I know people have got work. I know people have got commitments. You can always catch up. It doesn't need to be on the live. But do you know what helps on the live is these comments. This makes things flow. And I'm going to read a couple more just before I head off, because I really do need to leave. Thank you for your time. Not a problem, as I say, not a problem. Don't let people discourage you. Yep, love that. We have the expectation that you will do that now. Yeah, we have the expectation that you will do that now. Judy, exactly. Correct. So there's that little added pressure, which keeps me accountable. Let's have a look. Appreciate everyone does. Thank you for your time. Inspire me on podcast helps a lot. Wow, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Failure is an option, but you do not have to take it. I find myself searching for at least an hour of stuff about consistency. Love your advice. Helps a lot. Brilliant. Enjoy the game. And what to do is, do you know what will end up happening? In fact, do you know what I hope happens? As you start coming to me with stuff, Frankie, read this yesterday. What do you think? What do you think of this? I saw this guy, Stephen Bartlett. He said this on a podcast. What's your thoughts? Let's have a brainstorm one day. One of the days should be like a little brainstorm where everybody has a question or like, do you know what we'll do? We'll keep this the same, but I might do, you know, when I'm walking at the gym or whatever, I might do like one evening when I'm walking to get my steps in. It takes me about 20 to 25 minutes to get to the gym. So I can always just do a little Facebook Live walking along, and that can be like a little question and answer type thing. So I'd really like that. I'd really like to get your thoughts on, you know, how it's going, what kind of stuff you're writing, because I'm quite interested in what other habits maybe I could learn. You know, because you might have something that thought, do you know what? I've never thought of that. You know? So listen, tomorrow I'll confirm my time because I know everyone's got commitment. I know everyone's got work. So yeah, message me actually. What times you'd like, and I will try and find like a nice happy medium for everyone. All right, guys. Listen, I'm tuning off just now. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this has helped a wee bit, and I shall speak to you soon. See you tomorrow, guys. Take care.